Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The Druki are on the march, and Crone rides out upon her cauldron of blood. So the Druki will be facing off against the High Elves today, their accursed enemies, as we have Killerino with the Dark Elves, and we have Black Phillip leading the High Elves. So for the Dark Elf army, of course, we do have Crone, not a pick you would typically see, but she did get a rather considerable buff to her stats. You get +4 melee attack and a very sizable increase to her armor-piercing damage with the latest update. And so she is going to be bringing the Gaze of Cain, nice melee attack, base weapon damage, and armor-piercing to surrounding troops. And we do have Fury of Cain as well, and then Amulet of Dark Fire, giving 22 magic resist to all forces around her, and the Cursed Blade. So for her support, we do have a Cainite Assassin bringing the Assassin's Trophy, and so getting a little bit of extra poison into the mix, kind of keeping those large targets a little weaker over the course of the battle. We also do have a Sorceress of Beast, going to be bringing Transformation of Kadan as well as the Wild Form. So Transformation of Kadan did get a little bit increase in the cost of magic. It now costs 18, though it is still a very potent spell. Having a nice terror-causing beast summon on the field is always a nice little addition to your roster. So for the front line, though, we do have some Dread Spears mixed in, and we have the Black Art Corsairs as well to provide a little bit of burst in that front engagement to really get through that front line and get into the important things that can harm this Dark Elf army. But of course, we also do have Blades of the Blood Queen, the Executioner ROR, and they do have Guardian, so rocking with the Sorceress and the Crone herself, providing a nice little bit of extra support there. And then for the mobility, we do have triple Scourge Runner Chariots. Very nice units here, especially lots of good targets they'll be able to fire off against cavalry, their lords, and all those other big monsters that the High Elves can be bringing. But now for the High Elves, let's see what they have in store for us. Their front line is going to consist of some spearmen, 3 of those backed up by a couple rangers to provide a little bit of DPS, much like the Black Art Corsairs, though they aren't going to be as much resistant as those, but they do have quite a bit of good damage output. They do have a couple of Eagle Claw Rope Throwers, providing a little bit of pressure onto the oncoming Druki, forcing them into the engagement, and a little archers for ranged firepower as well. But the heavy hitters of this army is going to be the mobility. They have the 2 Dragon Princes units with some Illyrian Reaver support, and an Arcane Phoenix up in the sky. For the Lord, we do have Alariel the Radiant, who is going to be bringing Foz Protection, Earthblood, Tempest, and as well as, of course, the Star of Averlorn. So lots of healing from Ariel with that Star and the Earthbloods, and some nice little other supports with Foz Protection. And not going to be using Tempest here, but just in case the Druki would have brought potentially Malekith on his dragon, or even Lokir may have been a nice little target. But of course, it might also help with the slowing down and screening out those Manticore summons, so we'll see if we do see any of that. But let's get on into things as the Druki are slowly getting closer to that front line of the High Elves, as the High Elves are going to reposition themselves to intercept these incoming Druki, as the archers do fire away, and the Scourge Runners will be starting to get in range of their kind of high value targets here. So a nice charge by the Dragon Princes, though, into these Black Art Corsairs, doing a ton of damage off of the charge, and even carrying on into these Dread Spears. Now, both the Arcane Phoenix and Ariel kind of cycling around, just looking for some targets, and it looks like they are going to be singling out the Sorceress of the Beast, who is very far away from everything else, while the Scourge Runner Chariots are firing into some Illyrian Reaver archers, just doing some decent damage there, and Crone does use one of her abilities, the Gaze of Cain, giving some nice melee attack and armor-piercing damage to her. But yeah, this goon squad here is going to quickly deal the final blow to that Sorceress of the Beast. Might be able to get a spell off, but she is terrified, so she will not be casting any spells just now. And I think that Cainite Assassin kind of needs to leave that Sorceress alone. There's not a lot he can do, but he might be able to slow him down, allow these Scourge Runners to really do the damage that needs to be done. But right now, Crone Hellbron just kind of mixing through that front line. These Blades of the Blood Queen so far unimpeded right now. Nothing in the front line that the High Elves have brought are going to be able to deal with them. They're going to have, these Dragon Princes need to kind of cycle around and deal those rear charges to them. Otherwise, they're going to have some hard times dealing with them in that late game. Those Scourge Runners do come to the rescue of the Sorceress as the Murderous Prowess does pop for the Dark Elves, as they are just kind of blobbing up and converging upon breaking down this High Elf front line very, very quickly, while the Scourge Runners kind of kiting away from these Dragon Princes, and they'll be doing quite a bit of damage in that regard. That is a very good target for them to be firing in on, while Alarielle has taken quite a bit of damage herself, but luckily the Transformation of Kadan has gone off for the Dark Elves, though a little far away, especially with the pressure gone, maybe a little early on the cast, though Crone Hellbron looking to be shutting down these archers, but that Arcane Phoenix and Alarielle will have something to say about that, I am sure, as they both dive down to support their back line and are going to be gooning out Crone Hellbron fairly quickly, and a lot of damage goes down, and here is the first star of Averlorn as well, healing up Alarielle very, very quickly, and these Dragon Princes going to be getting into the mix, getting some of the healing themselves, and just mucking down Crone Hellbron, doing a lot of damage, but they have been able to shut down the archers, and here comes that Frail Manicore once and for all, but able to actually terrify Alarielle the Radiant very quickly, who does have Foz Protection on top, but so is the Assassin's Trophy, so going to be pushing her out of that engagement, and the Canine Assassin going to be coming in, getting that poison that he does have, and he also does pop his damage ability as well. So we have the Web of Shadows going down, getting a lot of damage onto this blob of the Dragon Princes, the Arcane Phoenix, and the like, and the troops are going to be buffed by the Gaze of Cain as well, so a lot of bonuses going the way for the Dark Elves in this engagement, and that balance power is now in their favor with that cast. Otherwise, the rest of the forces, Dragon Princes trying to break some of these Black Art Corsairs, as some of the Scourge Runners do come back. That Sorcerer staying far from the battle right now, as the Arcane Phoenix is just taking a beatdown from Crone, as well as these Blades of the Blood Queen, just mucked up with very elite troops right now and getting dragged through the ground. Alarielle is not here to support, as we do see her just back here from the looks of things, as she is returning at full health, well, at full health as she's going to be getting, but she's going to be too late to assist this Arcane Phoenix, as it is going to be pushed off the field. It does have a lot of healing left, and it does get its rebirth, getting a massive amount of HP back, and that may be enough to give the High Elves a little way back into things, but man, Alarielle is just taking so much damage. She had a good amount of health, but that Feral Manicore summon just absolutely mucking things up and just absolutely putting Alarielle into the bin right now, as she is going to be routing and very likely going down, and down she will go, and with that, probably the last hopes of the High Elves in this engagement, as the Dragon Prince is trying to come back, but the High Elves will concede. So definitely, I think the engagements there did provide a bit of the advantage for the Dark Elves. The High Elves there trying to goon out the characters, and they weren't able to finish the job for the Sorceress the Beast, and allowing both of those Manicore summons to be used, and you could see just how much damage that they did in that late game. You don't see any of that damage from those summons on the character, but on Alarielle and that Arcane Phoenix, they just did so much work. So had that Goon Squad earlier on been able to finish the job, that may have been a different ending to this song and dance. But otherwise, the Scourge Runners doing good work themselves, able to just kind of kite away from these Dragon Princes, doing a lot of damage and minimizing the effect that they had on the battle, and they really needed to do more than they did. Same with the Arcane Phoenix. A lot of damage was dealt to Crone Hellbron, though she herself, 2,800 in damage value and 11,000 damage done to both Alarielle and that Arcane Phoenix, generating most of that damage there. The Canine Assassin also doing quite well, 1,700, with a lot of poison coming in, just shooting throughout the meadows, and that Web of Shadows on that Dragon Princes and that Arcane Phoenix did a ton of damage, generating quite a bit of good value. Blades Blood Queen, of course, doing quite well. Guardian ability really keeping Crone and that K-Knight up in the fight against the Alarielle Goon Squad. But otherwise, very fun match. And I do hope you all enjoyed the video. And as always, have a good one.